Hi guys, today our discussion will be essay 570, one of the important essay going concern. Business is not like a washing machine where we put switch on, it will function, and when the switch off, it will end the functions. Rather, it will continue for unforeseen future. That is the future of business. Thus, it is known as going concern. But there are certain events and conditions which I will detailedly explain you later, which will cast significant doubts on entity's ability to continue as a going concern. Not clear the concept, I know. See, there is a government order few years back. The hotels of category 3 star will not allowed to operate a bar. So my hotel is 3-star category. Because of government order, what happened? I can't run a bar where servicing the liquors. So it's an event or an incident happens because of the government actions. Because of that, it cast an uncertainty on my business. What I will do, I will approach a court, I will file a case, harji, and court will taken it as in their files. But I am waiting for the order. So it's an uncertainty attached to that. Case may be win, case may be lost, government may withdraw their orders, and a lot of things are there. So these are the events and conditions which act like a brake. It will cause some uncertainties amongst us. So let us move more details into our standards. What are the events and conditions which caused material uncertainty on the going concern assumption? Prevent to go ahead. What are those conditions? Financial crisis. Because of the financial crisis, many entities has been winded up, liquidated. Example number 1, the Kingfisher. Example number 2, the Jet Airways. Example number 3, the Reliance Communications, which led by the Anil Ambani, which we know the financial crisis, he become bankrupt. We heard that. So the financial crisis, operational crisis, and the other crisis. These crises act as an events and conditions because of this crisis which affect our going concern assumptions. How can understand this crisis? There may be an indications. Financial crisis, there may be an indications which will lead to know the financial crisis. For an example, negative net worth from the business, negative cash flows from the operations, non-payment of funds to the creditors, dividend to the debenture holders may be in arrears. So lot of such indications will lead to the financial crisis. Such crisis will end up with winding up, shutting down of the business. Financial indicators. Second, operational crisis. How can we know those crises? There is an indications, operational indications. What is operational indications? Key management persons who run our business may leave the organization. Competitors may poach them. So automatically our business will be winding up. Loss of major market share. Hope we know before Android smartphones arrival, Nokia dominated the world. Nokia phone. Now where the Nokia stands for. So the loss of major market share, loss of major license, loss of major franchises. Then one more thing is things will be there. If we go in front of their factory, there may be labor strike and unrest. Karenge ya marenge, Inqilab, Zindabad. So all these examples of operational crisis, it is operational indicators. Then the final one is the other parameters, other crises, government's orders. which will adversely affect our going concern assumptions. Just I given that example of bar license. Then other situations, other indicators, it will false other indicators, legal proceedings in the courts. All these leads, these are the events and conditions which cast significant doubts on entity's ability to continue as a going concern. These are the background. So now we are entering into the standards. My question now, what is auditor's responsibility with respect to the going concern assumption? Going concern is one of the fundamental assumptions. If we follow this assumption, it's a normal business practice. The normal way we will account our all the things on accrual basis. But once that assumptions comes to an end, that is the business comes to an end, what will happen? We have to realize everything will move on to the net realizable value, realization concepts. Asset will go, liability has to settle on realizable value, but we know that ultimately end up with the loss. Once the loss hit, affect the profit and loss account, which will have the significant impacts on the various users. Users are waiting. Once we spread this news, the business going to an end, they will panic. They will sell it off their shares and all. Lot of things centered around for the going concern assumption. So this is the one impact when the going concern assumption is invalid. So auditor's responsibility is what? Business is running, functioning, and it is managed by well-managed team. So it is their responsibility to make going concern assumption. How they make going concern assumption? After the financial statement is prepared, they have to take a 12-month period. Then they have to take those indications I have mentioned, financial, operational and other indicators. Those indications they have to taken into mind, take the 12-month period and make an assumption. It is the management responsibility. So what is auditor's duty? Auditor has to obtain an evidence whether management has performed that assumption. If they performed, is it valid? How he will do? That is the next things. Auditor has to inquire with the management whether they had made going concern assumption, taken into consideration of those factors. If yes, auditor also go through the same route. Whatever assumption management has performed is valid and right. He has to obtain evidence for supporting that. This is the basic role of auditors. He has to check whether that assumption prepared by the management is valid. After that, he has to report the things to the stakeholders, various users who depends on financial statement. The main thing auditor has to check whether there is any material uncertainty exist based on the events and conditions just mentioned before. That auditor has to check. Going concern assumption is valid, appropriate, but material uncertainty exists. Because of that, which cast serious doubts on entity's ability to continue as a going concern. This matter auditor has to report to the various users. What he has to do? Material uncertainties exist. Then he has to report that the asset and liability cannot be accounted on the historic book value basis. This has to be reinstated. This fact, then what are the events and conditions? He has to clearly mention. It may be operational, financial, whatever. He has to report that to that in the auditor's report. Then next aspect he has to communicate with the various users is the events and conditions which cast the doubt on entity's ability, but material uncertainty is not affecting. That situation, auditor just report those events and conditions. For an example I given before, the bar license. We are waiting for the verdict from the court. We are mentioning those events because of the government new policies. It affecting our going concern assumption. We are filed an affidavit we are waiting for the court order for that, but still we have material uncertainty. So this is our small discussions about essay 570. Thank you for watching the video and have a wonderful day ahead.